Good morning. This is the Lightwalker's Path, and I'm your host, Rosemary DiTrolio, Reiki Master Teacher from New Jersey. And this is a place where we find our soul's purpose through enlightened conversation, and you're able to hear inspired guests like today's guest, Scotty Schneider. How are you, Scotty?
I'm really well. Thank you for having me on.
I'm excited to talk to you today. So I wanted to introduce you. I've written or read that your way of working is to help people practice a practical life rebuilding, help with nervous system regulation, find purpose through community, and carry spiritual awareness into their everyday life, which is very much aligned with my mission as well. Is that you don't have to just be a Sunday believer. You could just
Yeah.
bring in your spirituality, whatever that is, into your daily way that you live, and that's beautiful. And you also mentioned that you have intuitive experiences and sensitivity, which is
hmm
really awesome. So I wanted to just ask you about how you kind of got to where you are right now. Like, what was your thing that you said, I have to make a change, or I want to
Yeah.
change?
Well, I had a couple of those moments, and they sort of all accumulated up into one big kind of like bottom of the barrel moment. But it started, grew up homeschooled on a small farm in North Carolina. Very deeply conservative, right-wing Christian parents.
Oh,
Did not get out much. Like didn't
that's
watch
rough.
movies, didn't listen to music. Yeah,
Oh,
it was not the funnest experience in the world.
oh my goodness.
And so I left as early as I could. At 17, I joined the military and went to West Point. So
Okay.
you're from New Jersey, right? It
I
depends on what
am.
part of
I
New
am.
Jersey, but you're probably you
You're
might have driven
PA.
past West Point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've been to West Point, so I kind of know where that is. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful school, challenging experience. I spent 4 years there and then 3 years in the Army.
Oh,
Now, if you can imagine,
I can't
uh,
imagine.
it's two drastically different experiences, right?
Yes.
From very isolated and
Yes.
away from the world to the military, complete change there. Then I got posted to my first duty station in Alaska.
Oh my goodness.
Uh, so like I've already hitting all
Culture
the
shock.
extremes.
Wow.
Yeah. So couple years into my service in Alaska, I'm out snowshoeing in the backcountry at -40, below zero, super cold. And I get really bad frostbite. And I have to I almost lose half my foot, but I end up getting like a toe and a half amputated,
Oh,
really bad neurovascular damage to my fingertips.
mm,
So I get medically retired to the military.
okay.
Now, around this time, I've had some really challenging differences of opinion with my parents regarding religion. I'm starting to figure out, well, I might go to combat, I might see war, I might die. I need to figure out,
Hmm.
who or what God is and what my relationship with him is without anyone necessarily telling me what that is to be.
Right. Yeah.
And so I end up losing my military career and my military family and am estranged from my parents at the
Oh.
same time,
Mm.
while going through a dramatic injury and losing my career. It
Oh,
was
my
it
heart for
was
you. Oh,
awful.
oh my
So bad.
gosh. That sounds terrible. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. So
That was
during
a
that,
really
what
dark moment.
happened? So after that, did you at that point figure that you had to make a change or find something? Did you move out to where you are now in Colombia? At that point, what happened?
No, it took me a little bit longer to figure out that I was most of the problem.
Okay.
So, so if you can imagine, like the military tells you that, well, you put on the uniform and you serve and you have a mission and purpose. They tell you what you need to do to be happy, right? Well,
Mm,
what's the civilian version of that? Well, find a nice job, get a nice car, get a nice house,
mm.
make something of yourself and make a lot of money. So I went into the oil field industry. Now, this is part of the setup for
Oh,
the absolute disaster.
okay.
I'm
Yes.
chemical sales in the oil industry, and I've already
Yes.
got a drinking problem. Okay.
Yes.
So military drinking culture. And what they do in oil field chemical sales is like, here's a credit card, just go get people drunk and sell them chemicals. It's like, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
I happen to be really good at it too. But I quickly turned into a not so functional alcoholic,
Okay.
covering over all the pain of the loss and the disconnection that I was feeling in my life at the
Yeah.
moment with alcohol. So I succeeded at the corporate world. A couple of years of that, though, I'm burnt out, disgusted with myself and everybody else. And I decide, okay, well, maybe being an entrepreneur is going to be what is meant to be for me. Maybe that's going to make me happy. So I built two businesses and succeeded at that and still was unhappy. And this was my moment like,
The
what the
outdoor
hell, man?
searching.
It's
Yeah,
like,
find out it's right.
what the hell?
Wow.
What else is there? And that was what brought me down to Colombia. Colombia had been calling me slowly but surely for years. In
Hmm.
fact, one of the things that I had done in order to help myself walk again was after the frostbite injuries, I started dancing salsa. And
Oh, that's
that,
great. Yeah.
yeah, it started getting me,
Getting you moving,
y
getting happy.
yeah, but also around other people that were moving and happy. And I was like, man, these Latinos are pretty happy. Like, where are they coming from? Maybe like, and then I started researching. Turns out like Colombia and Latin America, well, in general, very happy part of the world. And I was like,
Yes.
well, let me go see what that's about. And I got here, and the moment that I landed here in Colombia, I felt like I was home. And that
Oh,
was the start
wow.
of my healing journey.
I love that. What year did you go there? What year was that?
2015.
Excuse me.
Oh, no
Yes.
worries. But
Yes, I think it's so interesting when you find a place that feels like you. Like I went to Italy this past year, and I felt like I was home there, and
mm,
it just the culture just drew me. And I am Italian, so you know it's part of my heritage. But just the beautiful feeling when you're there and you know you're in the right spot for the right reason to help you to be whoever you need to be. You know.
mhm.
But that's so interesting. Boy, you had such an incredible journey to where you are now. So I know that you work with cultural preservation and indigenous people. What are some of the takeaways that you learned from being in their culture that you brought into your life that you're able to help other people with now?
Yeah, great question. So when I got down here to Colombia a couple years into well, I've been here for 10 years. Yeah. So about 3 or 4 years after I'd been here, I was encouraged to take ayahuasca or yahe for the first time by
Mhm.
another military friend of mine. He was a military vet. I wasn't into like the hippie stuff, the
Mhm.
energy, like whatever. I was like, dude, come on, miss me with that stuff. I'm happy being unhappy. Thank you very much. And so I tried ayahuasca, and what I expected was like this dramatic trauma release. And what I
Mhm.
got was a plant spirit that was like, hey, tap, tap, tap. You really need to fix your life, man. I was like, what do you mean? I thought this was gonna like make me like super clean and white and
Yes.
stuff. Like no, man. How about you look at your habits? And so I found something really important and interesting in that. And what that did was that I started showing up to more ceremonies. That got me introduced to various indigenous elders. My first my first teacher really was Abuela Gloria, who comes from the Mexica tradition of Mexico, and she's been serving that tradition here in Colombia for a while. And she said something that really stuck with me one day. I was like hopping from ceremony to ceremony, and she's like, Scotty, it doesn't matter how much medicine you take or what medicine you take. It only matters how you live your life. The real ceremony is the ceremony of everyday life. And
Mm,
I
love
initially
that.
didn't want to, yeah, like I did, like, what do you mean?
Oh, it's
Is
up
like,
to me. Ooh.
are we back to me being the problem again?
Oh,
What's going on here? You know?
yeah.
But that started a real love, that relationship between Abuela Gloria and I started a real love for indigenous cultures, indigenous people, and I started to pull that thread and got introduced to more.
Mhm.
And then I think in the spirit and the energetical realm, I think once you start making yourself open to opportunities like that, more start to show
Mhm.
up,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So if you can imagine, I've raised a teepee. I built a teepee down here, a Northern American style teepee.
Mhm.
And about 2 or 3 weeks after I built that teepee, there is a good friend of mine that shows up with an elder of his from the Wiwa people up north in the coast of Colombia. And it's this Wiwa elder named Ade. That's their word for father. So Father Gabriel. No, this is Father Javier. Sorry. Father Javier shows up with his little son, Emilio, and he gets introduced to me by my friend. And he sits down in my teepee, sits by the fire, sits there for about, 10 or 20 minutes in silence. And then he looks over at me and says, hey, I'd like to live here.
Oh,
I
I
was
love
like,
that.
it's a bold move, Cotton. Uh, sure, man, come on in. I was
Oh,
like, I talked to my wife. I was like, hey, is this okay? She's like, yeah, we can make up a room for him. And he and his family ended up living us with us for a year and a half.
wow.
Just these
Amazing.
beautiful little experiences.
Oh, it's good.
And it's their way. The original question, I think, was, kind of how do I work with Indigenous people and how do I
Mhm.
help other people understand that point of view? Um, Something that one of our other elders told us literally last night. There is spirituality in absolutely everything. Their daily life is spirituality.
Yeah.
And so what we were discussing last night was what I believe as well, which is I think a lot of times in the US or developed countries, we tend to over spiritualize things or we separate
Mhm.
spirituality from the actual
That's
physical
right.
walk in daily life.
Yes, that's true.
And what they're going to root you in on and center you in on is how do you talk? How do you think? How do
Mm.
you eat? How
How
do
do
you
you talk to
sleep? What
yourself
are your
too?
relationships like?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, what is
Yeah.
the fruit of the tree of your life? That's it.
Love that. Love
Full
that.
stop.
Yeah. Oh, I really, I resonate so deeply with that. And first, I am an organic gardener and I know my plants tell me where they want to be.
Mm,
And I'm very hooked into the divine realm through angel channeling, which I've been doing since
mm,
93. And I always knew there was more. And again, like when I walk through my day, I thank the trees, thank the earth, I
mm.
look at the sky. Like I believe, and I've done that since I've been really young, that it's such an honor to be walking on this beautiful earth. And we're
Oh,
supposed
yes.
to learn here. That's why we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to help each other. We're here to learn. We're all connected. So to me, it's been such a beautiful journey, and I love that you have been able to inspire other people in your way to find this in themselves, which is really, really powerful. Beautiful. Okay. Um, all right. So when someone comes to you, let's say they say, "Hey, Scotty, can you guide me?" How do you begin work? Do you work on Zoom? Do they come to your place? Is it a communal understanding that you bring to them? What do you do? Is it one to one? Like, what is your process?
Yeah. Well, we have a free community platform online through
Okay.
a company called School. So, like, if you can imagine,
Ah,
like,
yes.
Facebook without all the distraction, that's
Yes.
School.
Yes.
What we really want to do and what we believe in is that there's no one way for everybody to heal. What we
True.
want to do is we want to encourage people to do this in community and not alone anymore, because that's
I
more of
believe
the
that.
indigenous model.
Yes.
And we also don't start working with anybody unless we've, just had them in our community and like we've talked and things arise organically.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the indigenous model, right? You don't
Right.
just like walk into an indigenous community, you don't know anybody and you walk right to the shaman and you're like, "Hey, I would like to take some medicine." It's like, dude, I
Mm-hmm.
don't even know you, man, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
It's what we like to do is we like to provide resources. We've got full courses and information, and we've got the community, and that's really where we really shine. So the easiest place for people to get started with us is just join the community and meet other people, and maybe you'll resonate with working with us. Maybe you'll resonate with working with one of our community members, or we can get you to the right place. Our focus is on community first above anything else.
Beautiful. Scott, I want you to send me that link after we're
Of
done too,
course.
because I'm going to put it in the description. So when this arrives on like YouTube or something, people can click and get to you and see also that community that you mentioned.
Yeah,
Okay,
that'd be great.
that would also help you. Okay. So you mentioned something. I do know a few people that did Iwagasa, and they had very
Hmm.
interesting and profound spiritual experiences from it. So I know you said that about the plant spirits, and why I'm so curious about it is because I've had a lot of weird experiences without any of that. And so
Oh yeah.
like it's so cool to hear, the people that have come across it in a different way. So the plant spirits spoke to you. One of the things I want to know is, did it arrive with, let's say, did they look like plants? Was it a spirit guide? Was it just energy? Was it an inner knowing for you? What was like your
Hmm.
experience with that? I'm just really curious.
Yeah, most people think like like everybody gets the grand visions. I almost never get visions. I think I've maybe had three visions in my entire life. Most of
Okay.
mine are inner knowing and sort of third eye mental
Yes, yes,
pictures. I know
yes.
it, which is actually kind of
Claircognizant. I'm the same way. Claircognizant.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and it really threw me for a loop for a while there because I'm
Yes.
just
Like,
like
is it
sitting
the same
here.
thing? Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like people are like, "Oh my God, I saw this, 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 this." I'm just
I
like, "Well, it was
know.
kind of it was black, but I mean, I got a lot of
Yes.
information, you know."
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
kind of interesting because it's also like straight to the point, like no fluff,
Yes. But that's you though. See that I think you need to hear the message the way you need to hear a message. So if
Yeah,
you're not a BS person with all this airy fairy stuff and you're well grounded, they had to hit you between the eyes and say, "Hey, this is it," right?
exactly.
And give you
Yeah,
the fluff because the fluff you'd be like, "Oh, what is this?" You know. The other thing too, it's like you're claircognizant like I am. And it's difficult sometimes because in our culture, we hear about like the visionaries, the clairvoyant people that are seeing things, and sometimes that's like a later gift. Like I see things now, but that's opened. My
hmm
natural thing is to feel it in my body and feel it in my inner knowing first.
yeah,
And to understand that that's the way that I process information the easiest way. So that's probably with you too. That's the way you process the easiest way. But someone else might do it differently, and it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just different, right?
yeah. No, it's it, and actually, one of the parts of our course is about this. You know, the medicine or any medicine really can speak to you in a variety of different ways, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe sometimes all at once, or maybe you get one more than the other. It doesn't really matter. The trick is, I think, developing a relationship with whatever spirit you're working with to the point where you can understand how they're communicating with you and not feel yourself
Hmm.
better or worse than someone else
That's
just because you listen in a different way.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, and I think a lot of self-growth is not downgrading who you are as a person, no matter what we've been through in life, whether it be bad, what we
Mhm.
consider bad choices. Those are all choices to lead us to our spirit. So it's the way that you perceive it and learn from it that helps you shift and not
Mhm.
get stuck in that, like, oh my gosh, I must be a terrible person because. And I think a lot of people get stuck, like you were saying, with the self-talk that's negative, or even framing the thing they went through in a really negative way. Like it could be a terrible
Yeah.
thing, but I think to frame it and find the lesson out of it is the way that you get out of it, the way that you shift. That's kind of what,
Yeah.
my mindset, working with a lot of people through the years.
No, I agree with that. And I've also developed the understanding for me that I've gotten to the point where I feel so overwhelmed with joy about all the challenging paths that I've walked and
Yeah,
all the bumps and all the bruises and all the scars because
absolutely.
it forged me into the exact person that was necessary to do the things that I had to do. And
I believe that.
it's very useful, you know, like
Yeah.
we're talking about the vision with the medicine, right? Um, about a year and a half ago, I got the vision to build a maloka, which is a traditional structure. It's usually made out of wood with a thatched roof. It's circular. It's
Oh, I
called
know
the
that. Yes, like a
yeah,
yes.
yeah, it's called the House
Uh-huh.
of the Mother in some traditions.
Love
So,
that. Yes.
really, really beautiful structure. And I'd bought some land out in the middle of the jungle, a couple
Uh-huh.
hours away from Medellin. And it wasn't like I didn't see a vision of Maloka. The medicine just said, build it. I was like,
Oh.
okay. So pretty typical. Had no idea what I was getting into. That next year, we it just absolutely financially wrecked me. Like we spent every bit of money that we had into the Maloka. We had legal challenges and visa challenges, and we had my wife and I had two miscarriages at the same year. It was absolutely brutal
Oh,
year in
goodness.
all aspects,
Yeah.
but it was sort of like an initiation for the community. And it was the opening of the doorway and the closing of all the others that led to the birth of Okoyai, which is this online community that we're running.
That's
And it was
beautiful.
beautiful in that aspect. And I was sitting there challenged in every possible way and learning to be grateful for the opportunities and obstacles and also grateful for the experiences because it had toughened me to the place where I could actually survive that and grow in the middle of it.
That's amazing. Do you have children now?
No, we're still working on our first.
Okay. I'm sending you blessings and love.
Thank you so much.
Something's coming to you. If it's not through your own, it'll be an adopted child. That's what I'm feeling.
I I'm confident of that.
Okay. I was also getting, like, I don't know if you're aware of like past lives. I am getting one. You did have one in medieval times. Definitely. That came in
Oh, very
strong.
cool.
And oh, okay, there, I'm sorry, I'm channeling. I'm not I don't want to be in your business, but they're telling me.
No
So I was
worries.
supposed to let you know, and that's where the warrior spirit came in with the military stuff that you were doing. That's actually from like medieval times. And I
No way. That's
saw,
awesome.
yeah, I also saw like almost like a thing with the church, like the Cathars are early Christianity, but it wasn't quite your thing because you also had to kill people. So it was kind of like this weird,
Mm.
like you're telling me this, but you have to do that. And that came around, oh, phew, that came around in this lifetime again. So yeah,
Very
I
cool.
don't
Thank you
know.
for
Yeah, yeah. I
mentioning
hope
that
I
to me.
didn't overstep, but sometimes
No,
when
no,
I get
not
a
at
strong
all.
inclination, I'm kicked in the head till I tell you.
I've had two visions of past lives so far. One was a medicine woman in the Amazon.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
it was the weirdest thing because
Yeah.
I was talking with my girlfriend and I had walked into the bathroom and I wasn't on any medicine at all. And it was the only time I've ever had like any sort of like lucid dream or vision in the middle of the
Yeah.
day. And it was like one moment I was in the bathroom and the other moment I blinked and I was in the Amazon and there was like it was in the middle of the jungle and there was
Wow.
this woman in white with a copalera or like copal that was like
Yeah, Copal.
it
Yes.
was like looking at me. I was like,
Wow.
what? And I was like, I knew it was me.
Oh,
Crazy.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had some spontaneous visions through dreams of my past lives, and I've had actually past life regression done a few times. So I've been a lot of different, so we're both male and female when you go through these past lives, but I was a Catholic priest, I was a Celtic, I was a Native American. Like I had all these
Hmm.
different places in the world that I've been, and I think all of it was to dump in the information so that in this lifetime, I can help people of different backgrounds and not have any judgment about who they are, really. And I think it's
Yeah.
because we walk different paths that we learn,
Oh yeah.
So that's really cool. Yeah. So are you working on a book? Because they're telling me one of the things that you're guided to do is do some sort of manual book or something that'll bring information forward, which could also link to that course. But you might
Hmm.
also have something in the works. I'm seeing something for you to bring out, and almost like a gift, like a universal gift kind of thing. And it could be about your plants or about the culture. There's something there that they've been bothering you about. Have you had any inclination to do that?
Yes and yes. So I've already got my first book out, which is called The Eight Gaps. And
Okay,
what
good.
that is the idea of the eight ways that modern seekers are missing the mark when it comes to medicine, in my opinion. So
Yes.
things like taking medicine too much, not doing integration, not respecting the cultures, commoditizing it, those sort of things. And so
Yes.
I've got that written out. But that's the small point. The
Okay.
bigger point is there's a guy called Wade Davis. He wrote a really great book, a couple books actually, but some really great books about indigenous tribes and communities here in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I'm most passionate about, we're helping people with community, but the biggest thing that we're doing is elevating indigenous voices across, well, starting with the Amazon and Colombia.
Right,
We're
right.
working with several tribes right now, and we're going to be expanding that to northern tribes,
Love
to
that.
outside of the country, to I'm actually talking with the Inuit right now as well to try to get some of their far northern elders on.
Oh, that's great.
The idea is to get these elders and to get their wisdom to take the messages that they're trying to pass on to humanity and like record it. Here
Yeah.
are the similarities, here are the differences,
Yes.
here's what they're
Love
trying to
that.
say. And
Yes.
that's forming over time these conversations with which we are recording and organizing. That's going to form the basis for a book, which is going to
Love
be
that.
that's going to be like a couple of years in the future for sure, because this is
Yeah.
a massive project, if you can imagine. But yes, that's in the
Yes.
works.
Yeah, I think that'll be very powerful because a lot of those cultures don't have it's oral culture and a lot of the stuff gets
Exactly.
missed. It's like a game of telephone, when it gets to
Yeah.
us, it gets switched around. So it's really great that you have their words and their actual meaning for what they want to tell you. That's
Well, I think I have their
wonderful.
meeting. It's a real challenge. Like
Yeah.
what one of our elders, Ade Gabriel, they have a language called Diamuna, and they're from the Wiwa tribe. Well, indigenous languages in general are actually disappearing. So part of what we're doing is
Mhm.
also recording these and creating free language schools so that
Oh,
we can learn natively how we learn as children, like not writing it down in a
yes.
book, but
Yeah.
like just hearing and repeating
Hearing it and speaking it.
because there's a lot of cosmovision that and wisdom that is hidden in the language in ways that you wouldn't expect. right?
Yes.
Just to take
Layers.
Spanish for an example, like the word for patience, paciencia. Pa meaning peace, paz, peace, ciencia, science. So like patience, the science of peace.
I
It's
love
like,
that.
oh, that's a little
Yeah.
gold nugget right there.
That's a gold nugget. Yeah.
And I want to capture those things.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway, the the elders in the Wiwa very rarely speak Spanish.
Hmm.
So if you can imagine, we've got Western English speakers, then me in the
Yes.
middle, and then the elder who's trying to describe a
What they're
concept in his
saying.
language in a very
Yeah.
roundabout way, because that's how they teach a lot of the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
a broken Spanish, and I'm trying to translate it in the middle. I'm basically like
Ah,
I'm a bridge.
yes. Yes. Oh, I love that. A spiritual bridge, like a rainbow bridge, like the animals cross. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. Love that. Okay. Um, what are some of the ways that you would tell someone that's on a new search how to strengthen their connection to their inner guidance? I know I would tell them to spend
Mm,
a few quiet moments with nature, walk outside, allow, the information to flow. What would be the way that you would guide someone to connect with this inner wisdom and light as a new person coming in?
mm. I really love meditation for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the sense that I think it's impossible to listen to your or follow your inner guidance if you can't listen to it in the first place.
That's true.
And I
Yeah.
think I just remember myself. My mind was so cluttered and so busy and so anxious all of the time. I couldn't even hear myself. And so I think the first thing that I had to do was sit down and I practiced Vipassana meditation for several years. And
Mm-hmm.
that was what actually allowed me to become the observer of my thoughts and actually start to hone in on what my voice was saying before I even knew what to strengthen.
I love that. It's so interesting because your energy is like flowing water, and
Mm,
I'm feeling your energy flowing water, and it's beautiful to see like the change that you're describing the difference between how you used to be. It's really hard in our culture for a lot of people to slow down enough to allow that flow to happen because all of the thoughts are jammed up in there and they don't know how to like link back to heart energy or awareness
mm,
or inner awareness because that other junk's in the way. Kind of like
yeah.
I don't know, I think of like the squirrels running up there,
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, yeah, love that. Okay. Um, all right. So in your where you live now, so you're part of a culture. Do you do anything with music in that culture? Is it more like meetings, talking, sharing, group sharing with food? Is that kind of like part of the cultural way that you're living now?
Yeah. So I'm currently living a little bit outside of a small town in Colombia, kind of in the Highland Andes mountain chain. And we are about an hour and a half away from our full community. So our full community, there's no one living there right now. We're building it. It's in development. I live here with my wife. I am a musician. I'm a guitar player and singer.
I knew it.
And yeah, and also we built a completely free medicine music course, like how to play.
Oh,
Like what I did was over the last
love
year,
that.
I got like 10 of the best wonderful medicine musicians here in Colombia, and we sat down, we recorded songs.
I
Within
love
like six
that.
months, we had like 8,000 people in the course.
It's
So
funny
it
because
just
I was hearing guitar music when I was talking to you. That's why I had to ask
yeah,
you. Oh,
yeah.
that's
Well, that's
beautiful.
why. Yeah, I'm a guitar player. Um,
Yes.
It was where like I'm digging deeply into a very specific brand of guitar style that sort of got like jungle and Andean influences, but
Hmm.
the songs that are traditionally sung in ayahuasca and yahe ceremonies down here, that's my particular specialty.
So, are these things that you just said about the music, is this also on that school site or is it somewhere else or is it still
Nope, it's also on the school site. Yep, it's all
okay?
together.
And how would people find that? Is there a name for that? So if
Yeah, they
someone
can
searches,
go to Oko Yai. I put those over in the chat
oh,
for
it's
you.
OCOC. Okay, got it.
OCOYAI, and that'll get you to the right place.
I
Or
gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to just copy that so I have it. All right, cool. Yes, beautiful. All right. What other things would you like to bring up to highlight about either what you do or some life lesson some little life lesson nugget that you want to share, or some other thing that I haven't touched on with you today?
Yeah, well, I think I'd love to. I'd love to repeat the message of our elders, which is they're here and very excited and interested in sharing their cosmovision, their culture, their language, their way of being, their groundedness with anyone who's willing to listen. I think a lot of times, especially in the US, we get this sense of, oh, well, I don't want to co-opt the culture, or I'm not native or indigenous, so I shouldn't study these things. And that couldn't be farther from the truth in their perspective, from my experience.
Mm.
In fact, I went to my one of my elders, Josaphat, and he's from the Morui tribe in the middle of the Amazon. I said, "Is it okay, like me as a white guy, being like learning this stuff?" And like he's like, "Scotty, as long as you think and act like us in life, you are one of us. That's it."
Right,
And
right.
interestingly,
That's
my
beautiful.
wife is native, and so I'm now by marriage
Oh,
adopted into the tribe.
there you go. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. I always think like my favorite uh, picture is a circle because in our culture, it's not like, we're our culture is triangular where everybody steps on everybody, which is terrible. And
Hmm.
I was always the circle. So it's always the wisdom of the circle, the wisdom of the group, the wisdom
Yeah.
of the higher good for everyone, not a leader with people under. And I saw it that way even when I was teaching kids. I was a school teacher for 32 years. So I always saw it as an equal mix of different people's abilities that make the community and people stronger. It's like you have to draw from the tribe, your people. And I think what's really hard, and especially like in my area, a lot of people struggle to find their people, their tribe, because
Yeah.
it's not a cultural per se, but it's really finding those like-minded souls that are on a journey and a mission to move ahead and help people. And I think that's
Hmm.
where people get stuck sometimes. So it's great. They'll know they can go to your website and just explore what you do, and they can explore what I do. And there's so many interesting things out there that can lead people to their truth, which is fantastic. All right. Are you vegetarian or not?
No, I might look like it. I'm kind of waifishly thin, but I'm a pretty heavy meat eater. I'd say like 80% animal protein.
I call myself a meatitarian. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I try. Believe me, it's like, oh, I don't want to hurt animals, but like, I really need to eat. You need to eat that
Oh
way.
yeah.
Due
I've
to my,
tried I've
I think.
I've tried various different diets, but
Yeah.
nothing gives me the energy regulation and
Safety.
sustained energy
Yes. Yes.
that like red meat or fish. Like I'm
Red.
mostly red meat or fish.
Yeah.
Um, it works. I
Yeah.
think everyone has a different genetic makeup. There's a
It's
guy called
absolutely true.
Paul Chek, wrote The Four Doctors, that really
Yeah.
goes into a great study of this. But I think everyone needs to figure out what their
Yes.
particular diet
Yes.
is for them, you
Their
know?
DNA, their blood type. Yeah, I'm exploring more of
Exactly.
that. But I do know myself too. Like I definitely need meat and vegetables for lunch would be a fantastic meal for me, like bison or just a small portion, but or fish. I love, fish as well. But I think I really
Yeah.
need that, And I think with these crazy diets that people have, they're not eating from the earth. There's too much junk in the food, and they're not
Oh my goodness.
they're not back to like just growing something and eating it. It's like such a difference with the energy and the feeling of that food and the honoring of the food when you're not trying to put poison on it to make it grow,
Oh yeah. No,
So
I know the people who grow most of my
different.
food. Like my eggs come from the
Yes.
neighbor, and a lot
Yes.
of things here in Colombia still work not
Yes.
on a factory level. It's much, much
Yes.
better. Like I get sick when I go back to the US and I eat the food there. I don't go back very often, but I mean
Yeah.
I get pretty violently ill every time I go back.
Yeah, yeah, the stomach thing because there's just they're messing around with our food supply and that's why like I grow a lot of things. I go to the local farm markets when I can
Hmm.
and I try to really eat closest to the natural way the food is rather than anything
Yeah.
processed. And thank God my mother was a good cook. So, she didn't give us any junk when I was growing up. So that's been
Hmm.
a lesson.
Oh,
Okay.
good for her.
Yeah, yeah, so I cook. All right, let's see what else I want to ask you. So many wonderful things that you're doing. Oh, okay. So I have a question about meditation because you mentioned meditation. So
Hmm.
when people start out, I know it's really hard for people to meditate. So would you suggest, let's say, another type of meditation or a shorter burst of time? Like I know when people start, they get so frustrated because they can't sit there for a half hour, because that's
Yeah.
really tough. So what do you suggest when someone is really antsy and like you might have been years ago? Like what would you tell that person about the process of it?
Two different ways they can go about that. There's a guy called Sam Harris. Do you know Sam Harris?
No, but I'll look them up.
He's a neuroscientist and, or maybe a neurosurgeon, neuro something, probably both. Um, and he has two really great guided meditations. So Sam
Okay.
Harris guided meditation. I think he has like a 5 or 10 minute and a 20 minute.
Good.
And
Okay.
I really found his approach more scientific, more to the point, but still gentle and guiding you.
Mm-hmm.
That really anchored me. And I would just like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and listen to it for 5 minutes and that's it. And like whatever. And
Yeah.
he'll kind of walk you through the process. Like, hey, if your thoughts drift, that's totally fine. He explains
Mm-hmm.
it in a way that really made sense to my extremely like structured, logical mind.
I
So
knew
that would be
that.
the first thing. Um, and then the other thing is, if you're really having trouble with that, we'll sit down, do some meditation, and drop some acid. I guess if that's not working for you, you'll figure out one or the other.
It's interesting. That would scare the hell out of me. Oh, excuse my French, but
No, it did. It did me too. I
that
mean,
would scare me because I'm like, so I won't even take an aspirin if I don't need it, you know? Oh, that's too funny. But that's really cool. Yeah, so there's so many ways, right? There's so many ways to find what you need, and you're turning bright red,
yeah,
poor thing.
yeah.
Oh my
Well, I
God.
mean, I just haven't thought or talked about that like a long time.
I, you know,
Yeah.
that's my superpower. Even when I was a kid, people would sit down and tell me stuff that they wouldn't tell anyone else.
Mm.
That's too cute. Okay. All right. What do you love to do for fun? It sounds like you love to write your music and sing. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying spending time with my wife. I've got two lovely little dogs and a very ornery cat.
Uh-huh.
And I love more than anything else really spending time with my elders and having them come over to the house and planning visits to their territory and to see their children and to go find new interesting places here in Colombia to visit.
Beautiful.
To be honest with you, though, the last 6 months, complete obsession of mine has been building this community online.
That's great. Oh, I love that. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you today, and I really appreciate the gift of your time and the beautiful work that you're doing for the people that reach out to you. So thank you so much for your time, and I will let you know this should post in March. Okay?
Can't wait. Thank you so much, Rosemary, for
You're
the
welcome.
time that you put into this and the messages you're getting out in the world. Thank you.
Thank you.